grabbed me and threw me in the back of a white van, you guys. Okay, y'all. So, it's a little bit of story time. On February the 13th of 2011 was a very, 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 very sad day for me. I was in a situation where I decided to join the military and I was having doubts. Not because I didn't want to join the military, but I had a little baby that I was leaving behind. He had just turned 2 years old, and I was so afraid to leave him. Yeah, I just almost like, I guess maybe went to jail. I don't know because I was getting ready to tell those recruiters, like, no, I could not do it. But that night, I was up all night and I literally I gave my son a bath, rubbed him down real good, put his pajamas on. I read to him this this story that I had found online because it was about like mothers in the military going away. And I know he didn't understand any of that, but I found it and I was like, this is gonna be a good story to tell to him. So I was literally up all night just watching him sleep. He was so beautiful. And I just cried. I'm an emotional person, anyways, but I was so afraid. I was leaving him for approximately 6 months. So this is a whole half a year, you know? And I knew that when I got back, that he was gonna either one, not even remember me, or two, remember me, but it might be kind of hard to get adjusted back to each other. Or maybe he have some type of resentment that he didn't even understand. Like, I don't know, but I ended up leaving him with his grandmother, his father's mother, that I knew she just loves and adores him to death. So I knew that she was gonna be able to love him the way that I love him, or at least close to it, you know. So I felt like that was a good decision. So I just put my boots on and I was like, I gotta go because I was doing it for him, for a better life. I'll talk about my situation in a little while, so stay tuned for that. But um, I knew that I was making the right decision. So fast forward a couple of hours, I'm literally up, haven't slept anything. I was just up, just stressing. And two recruiters came to the door. They knocked on it, and my mother-in-law at the time, she answered the door, and she like, "Hey, Aja, come on. You know they're here to come get you." So I walked down the stairs. I don't even look back. I couldn't even look back. Walked down the stairs. I walked out the door. They immediately grabbed me and threw me in the back of a white van, you guys. And I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. That did not happen. It was a white van, but that didn't happen. So they grabbed my bags, put them in the trunk. I got in the back of the van and I just stared out the window the whole time. I was going down the street. These are streets that I had been on pretty much half of my life, you know, so I was very familiar, but this time it was different. I knew that I wasn't returning. I knew that I had a bigger purpose and I was headed to that purpose. And that's where my military journey just began. So I ended up, they drove me all the way down to Oakland, which is about, I don't know, about a 5 6 hour drive from where I was. Don't ask me how that happened. I don't know. But I ended up in the MEPS at in Oakland, California, and that is where I left, headed to the Oakland airport, where I ended up in Atlanta for a layover. And at this point, this is when I saw like all of the rest of the soldiers. It was so many of us at the Atlanta airport, and it was just like, wow, this is really happening, right? This is happening. This, I can't turn back now. You know, I'm very excited. I talked to other soldiers that were incoming, and they were all excited too. And we were talking about different jobs and things that we're gonna do, and you know, like our reasons for joining the military. And it was a good space. It was a good space. So we ended up in South Carolina, Fort Jackson, y'all. Yes, yes, yes. And that is when all hell broke loose. Oh God, it was some cadre. They got on the bus. They was like, "Get your bags, get out." You know, we got them. Oh God, and you know they took us to something called reception. So right now is we're like thinking that we're like in hell, like it's crazy. Everybody's just kind of fussing and just a lot going on, and you know we are literally like in line to get our uniforms and get measured. We getting shots everywhere. It's just a whole experience, and you're just going. By this time I haven't slept at all. I'm just like running on fumes at this point, but I am like just going with the flow. Like whatever somebody is doing in front of me, I'm just doing the same thing and just going. So meanwhile, you know, I didn't even think about Valentine's Day and that it was actually like a day of love and stuff, because this was not a day of love. This was not. Why is it doing that? I don't know. But this day, I would never forget for the rest of my life. This is just a condensed version of that. But I think we were there at reception for maybe all of 2 days, and it wasn't that bad in comparison to what happened next. Because that part, it was just a transition phase. Like we, you know, sat down and went over our pay and like that kind of stuff. So I was looking forward to being able to send my son money and things like that. So it was like it was looking up. You know, I met people that I'm actually still friends with today at that reception phase of my basic training experience. And it was so good, you guys. So we were standing in formation. People were passing out. They were like locking their knees. I never locked my knees before, so I never experienced that. But people, that's what they say, that they lock their knees and then they was just passing out left and right. It was hot. It was hot. I'm not gonna lie. I was sweating and everything, but I wasn't passing out, so I don't know what that was about. But anyway, so once everybody, you know, got gathered and stuff, y'all, the drill sergeants came. They introduced themselves, and I was like, oh my God, I don't know, like, what to expect. I hadn't even, like, heard of a drill sergeant really. Like, they told me a little bit at the recruiting station, but they did not prepare us for what we were getting ready to experience. So, literally, we got on this bus, and we had to put our heads down. Do you hear me? Put them down. They didn't want us to know we was. I was scared. I was shaking, y'all. And when we finally arrived to where we were going, they were. It was like immediate, like hurry up, everybody running, everybody just don't know what's going on. It was just crazy, y'all. And I got off that bus. I was like tiny. I wasn't nothing but like 105 pounds. I was so little carrying all of that stuff. I was dropping everything. It was crazy. Like somebody behind me was like, I can help you. Hold on, let me. And it was just like amazing because I didn't even know how to ask for help because everybody was carrying their own load, you know? And when we finally made it, to the little section where we were going, oh man, we had to like take all our stuff out the bags. The drill sergeant was throwing our stuff everywhere. It was crazy. They was yelling, screaming. Oh God, I just started crying, and I was just wiping my tears because I didn't want nobody to know I was crying. But I was scared. I was scared. I was like, okay, did I make the right decision? This is crazy. Oh God, I was so scared. So the drill sergeant came to me like, you scared, bro? You scared? I was like, oh yes, I'm scared. Please stop talking to me. Y'all. It was crazy. So my bag ended up being ripped and thrown everywhere. And my PT pants, like the pants that we have to wear for PT, they ended up on top of the roof, y'all. So somebody, I still don't remember who this person is, but somebody climbed up there and got it for me. And that is when I knew, like, I'm in the right place, because there was two opportunities for somebody to just leave me hanging, for somebody to be like, that's not my problem or whatever, and they helped me and I didn't even ask. So that's one thing that I appreciated, like, right off the bat, that we did not know each other. We were all from different places across the planet. We were so different. We were all raised different, but we all came together. We all came together during basic training. And that's how I knew, like, this is my family. This is where I'm meant to be. Did I know that I was going to be hitting 14 years now, or even on my path to retirement? Absolutely not, because that was such a traumatic experience for me. I hear that today's basic training is nothing like that. They took our phones. We had no communication with the rest of the world. When I ended up getting out of basic training and into AIT, where you have a little more freedom, it was so weird. Like, even listening to music was strange. But I think that's just all the process, because at the end of the day, like, going to basic, I was the strongest that I ever been, fastest I ever been, healthiest I ever been. I needed that in my life at that time. So that is my basic training experience for Valentine's Day, 2020, 2011. That is my experience for Valentine's Day 2011. It was no balloons, no flowers. Nobody said happy Valentine's Day to me either. And I was gone, and I was on my own, and I was on my way to this journey that I've been on since. So now I want to talk a little bit about my life before I joined the military, like right before. So, um, I was married to a soldier. We went to high school together. We ended up having our son, and he joined the military before I did. So I was a military spouse. I moved to North Carolina, Fort Bragg, for a little while, and I got to see the military lifestyle. So I knew that eventually I was probably going to join. Like, if life didn't work out, or because I was in college at the time. So my goal was to become a social worker. So if that didn't work out, I knew that I was going to join the military. So I went to the education center and I started to talk to a lady, and she helped me kind of get some ideas about how I wanted, about my future and things like that. And that's when I pretty much started to play with the idea that I was going to join the military. So, um, fast forward a little bit, I ended up moving back to California. Young marriage, things didn't really work out all that well, but we were still legally married, um, at the time. So when when I made it back to California, I was like, I want to join the military and I want to join the Air Force. So I went to an Air Force recruiter and I went through the whole process with the Air Force. Now, when I tell you that God works in mysterious ways, He really does, because I had no intention on actually joining the Army. So when I went back to the Air Force recruiter, I don't know, I think she was sick or something like that. And she was literally the only one in the office. And I could never get a hold of them. Like, I was calling, going up there, and I just was unsuccessful. And I probably could have tried a little harder, I don't know. But the Army's doors was open. They were open, and I walked in and they were so welcoming, and they was like, okay, yes, tell us your situation, we're gonna see if you qualify, this. So after my initial interview, so to speak, the only issue that I had was the fact that my son wasn't old enough for me to leave. He had to be, I think at the time, like 18 months or so. He wasn't 18 months. So they were just kind of like, just, let's start the process and everything, and then we're just gonna stand by. But in the meantime, you be working on your physical fitness, getting faster. At the time, you didn't have to pass an actual PT test. You just had to be, pass, like, I don't know, it was like something they had at the recruiting station, which I had no issues with passing at the time. So I had a couple of months to sit on this. So I sat on it. I talked to my family, friends, and stuff. They like, girl, you don't need to join the military. Like, stay in college. Just like do your thing. You can do this. You can do that. You don't have to join the military. That's gonna be too much. My dad was in the Navy, so he's like, if you're gonna join the Navy. I can't swim. I don't like water, and so I don't even want to put myself through any of that. So I knew that the Navy was not for me. So I know that they teach you how to swim and everything, but I'm terrified of water, like deep water. Oh man, that's just a lot for me. But anyway, so what ended up happening after that? So months passed, and I was ready. I was mentally ready, but I was just afraid to leave my son. So that was the only thing that I battled with the military, because I felt like it was a place that I was gonna end up, right? So I had some amazing recruiters. I can't remember their names at all, but they told me kind of the real deal about what I was going to expect. So I didn't go there thinking that everything was getting ready to be peaches and cream. I did not go there with any high expectations, because a lot of soldiers did. A lot of soldiers was like thinking that it was going to be a completely different situation, and they were like shocked when it wasn't, and they couldn't really adjust to the situation. But for me, I come from very, 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 very humble beginnings. I didn't have a whole bunch of stuff, and I kind of adapted to the military lifestyle very easily. My grandmother raised me for half of my life, and she was a laundry specialist by trade. So I was always folding and making things nice and neat and stuff. So I learned how to do all of that stuff that is required in the military, making up your bed properly and stuff. I already kind of knew how to do all that stuff, so I was teaching other soldiers in the barracks how to do that kind of thing. um but anyways, you guys, I'm gonna end here. But it's been a long 14 years, you guys. And one day I'm going to break all of that down, and, my trials and tribulations in the military. But today I'm just celebrating 14 years of military service, and I made it, y'all. So now I'm getting ready to enjoy Valentine's Day with my husband. We got a couple of plans. But yes, y'all, thanks for watching.